Jesus' early disciples were fishermen on the Sea of Galilee. He called them to become his followers, promising to make them fishers of people. When Jesus was crucified and all their hopes in him were dashed, they returned to Galilee and went back to their fishing. And today's gospel reading suggests that they had lost their touch as fishermen. All night they caught nothing. Perhaps their hearts weren't really in it. It is hard to go back to what we once did when in the meantime we have found something much more fulfilling. Yet, a short statement in the gospel reading would change everything for the better. It says, "There stood Jesus on the shore." The risen Lord would not allow his disciples to go back. He had vitally important work for them to do. To begin with, he helped them with their fishing. And when Jesus suggested that the disciples throw their nets to the other side, they caught an enormous amount of fish. And one of the disciples, who was particularly close to Jesus, immediately recognized him on the shore. He exclaimed, "It is the Lord." And after assisting the disciples with fishing, Jesus invited them to join him for breakfast. Jesus was bringing the disciples back into a deeper relationship with him through his simple actions of sharing a meal with them. In the Old Testament, God leads his children to celebrate feasts and festivals, which often involve sharing meals with family, including the weekly Sabbath and Passover. In the New Testament, there are several accounts of Jesus sharing meals with his disciples, including his last Passover meal. Jesus could have spent the night before his arrest doing something else. Instead, he spent it talking and conversing with his disciples over one last dinner. And several of the post-resurrection appearances have a meal as their setting. He invites them to eat. The breakfast is ready, he says. An abundant table of fish, food, love, warmth, and joy is ready. Here, fractured relationships are healed, and scattered disciples are brought together over a meal. There is something holy and sacred about eating together, about calling down God's blessing before and after meals. We share food and friendship, and beautiful things happen when families gather around the table. A simple yet carefully cooked meal can do wonders. And research shows that sharing meals as a family results in better academic performance, healthier eating habits, and stronger familial connections for children. And teenagers who eat together with family exhibit a very decreased risk of drug, alcohol, and other high-risk behaviors. A meal together can mend a broken relationship. Perhaps if we genuinely want our families and our families in our churches to say yes to God's invitations and embrace the mission He has for them, we should encourage them to start setting up the family table more often. After all, this is where Jesus met his disciples, and this is where Jesus wants to meet us. Isn't the Eucharist a family table? Let us try to make all our meals a moment of remarkable encounter with our brothers and sisters, and also a special moment when we touch God.